Hey everybody, this is James Swank with JUNK180, 707-536-0740. Check us out online. New and improved website, now live at JUNK180.com. It's Sunday, a little chilly, still sunny. California had we had a little bit of rain a couple days ago, not too much. This is Bay Area, we get microclimates here, so it could rain in this town, and next town over it could be sunny and dry. All I'm working on right now is some bookkeeping. I do the bookkeeping for the company. At least at this point, we are not so large as to need to outsource this yet. Bookkeeping there's a learning curve there. You have to kind of unlearn some of the common sense rules that you would typically think. Accounting is magic with numbers. It's kind of crazy the kinds of things that you can get away with in accounting and make one number seem better or worse than it really is on your bottom line. So all I'm doing right now, I had one of my guys stop by with some checks and receipts. So all I'm doing right now is entering these receipts into QuickBooks, and I've already done all of them but one. Just want to show you how easy this is. So QuickBooks, super convenient. Like I said, there's a learning curve. Even if you're familiar with some accounting principles, you still have to learn the software, and it takes a while. But once you get it, you get it. So this is how simple it is. QuickBooks app. Going to just go ahead and snap receipt. Use this photo, uploading, done. So in a couple minutes, that's going to process. The software will automatically pull some information off of there. You obviously need to verify the information is correct, but then you just go on your computer and open up your QuickBooks. The receipt will be there. You put the information in there, apply which account the expense is going towards and which account the payment was processed from. Pretty easy. So the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about, this is a somewhat unique in that today I have, from the same truck, I have 3 receipts, all from 3 different landfills or transfer stations, disposal facilities. And I just wanted to show you how vastly different they can be. We are located in an area that doesn't necessarily have a predominant geographical location, in that we are pretty much at the hub of 3 greater locations: East Bay, North Bay, Napa Valley, and even a little bit the southern Sacramento Valley. But Benicia is placed where these 3 or 4 locations intersect. So we service all of those areas. And being that the market is different, I'll just say what I always say, over the bridge. Benicia is on one side of all the Bay Area bridges, but literally there are 2 bridges that will cross various parts of the San Francisco Bay. They break them down into smaller sections, Carquinez Straits, things like that. But as soon as we cross those bridges, the disposal fees go up quite dramatically. I'm going to show you a couple pictures. So this first one is going to be for a place we do utilize on occasion, and it is over in Martinez. Let me show you that here. And you can see that total was $115. Now they have, it's not necessarily that they're much more expensive exactly, it's that they have a 1-ton minimum. So until you hit that 115, you're paying 115. If once you get over that, then offhand I forget what their ton tonnage rate is, but I think it's $115 a ton. So actually, I'm going to take that back. They are about maybe 30 to 40% more expensive than some of the other disposal facilities. But you got to get that 1 ton minimum. The next one I'm going to put up there is for the place in American Canyon. You've seen this place on many videos. It is the disposal facility we utilize most of the time. The trucks are parked nearby in American Canyon, and it's by far the cheapest to dispose of your stuff at, but the lines there can be horrendously long. It's not uncommon to have over a 2-hour dump line. So sometimes it's more beneficial to not go there and pay the extra to go somewhere else, if going somewhere else makes sense. And then the third one is up in Vacaville. This is the place where we used this one out of convenience yesterday because the last jobs of the day was in Vacaville. But that Hay Road landfill is where we need to take our pressure treated wood when we get it. It's a Class 2 disposal facility. California treats pressure treated wood as a hazardous waste. So that's where it's got to go. Any load that we have that contains pressure treated wood, it's a minimum of I think it's $375 minimum for any load that contains pressure treated wood. So it's very expensive to get rid of. And just falling back, you can see it's almost a 1-for-1 comparison between the American Canyon facility, the Delvin Road, and the Martinez facility as far as what our weight was bringing that stuff out there, about 0.7 tons. And one bill was $51.10 and the other one was $115, over twice as much. But like I said, even though American Canyon was much cheaper, it is not always the best thing to use the cheaper facility if time is important. And hopefully in this business, your time is important. We used the Martinez facility yesterday because the next job after that was all the way out in Richmond. It didn't make sense to have the driver spend an additional half hour to drive out to American Canyon, potentially have a 2-hour dump line being a Saturday. That's realistic. And then by the time he gets out of there, another half hour, 40-minute drive over to Richmond. That time wasted is way more valuable than the additional $65 we spent to offload in Martinez as opposed to American Canyon. That allowed us to get to our appointment on time. And this particular appointment was for it was a referral. We did work for her sister a couple months ago, and her sister referred us, and this client happens to be a realtor who is very happy with our service and plans on using us professionally in the future. So we were able to keep our commitments, and in doing so, we very likely developed a relationship with a very important repeat client for years to come. The other thing I want to bring up on this video, I'm just going to keep it short. I know we're probably about at the 10-minute mark already. It's getting to be towards the end of the year. Now, some people have a problem with this, but being that I understand a little bit about accounting, about 20 years ago, I'm 40 now. About 20 years ago, I did have some accounting courses, so I'm familiar with the basics, which is why I'm able to do the bookkeeping without much trouble. But towards the end of the year, if you're like most people, you have set your business up at the fiscal year to start in January, end in December, and in doing so, right now you should be looking over your profit and loss and seeing if there's any way you can reduce your tax burden. Get yourself a good tax consultant, whether that be a CPA or tax advisor. Right now is the time to talk to those people to see if you need to spend more money before the end of the year. Now I'm going to bring up, I'll fall back just a little bit. The more money you are spending on your business, that those expenses come right off your bottom line. So if you made $100,000 this year and so far you've spent, I don't know, $15,000 on expenses, well, it may be beneficial for you to spend another $5,000 or $10,000 on expenses to get your gross revenue down, to get you out of a higher tax bracket. It's a little confusing. You should definitely talk to a CPA or a tax advisor on this. I'm just giving you some general idea to let you know that there are options out there. It's not just as simple as money coming in versus money going out. You can not necessarily manipulate the values, but you can certainly spend more. And if you spend more, you may actually end up benefiting. The largest benefit for a junk removal company is definitely going to be for equipment. You've heard, if you're watching this channel, you've had to have come across Lee Godbold with the JRA. He hits on this in several of his videos, and he goes in depth on this in at least one of his videos. Matthew Bick over at Sonoma Strong. If you're watching his channel, you know that those guys have recently purchased a dump truck. They got that last year. Looks great. If you guys watch the channel, really impressed, and I'm still jealous about that lift gate. Neither one of my trucks have a lift gate. That would come in handy. So, still jealous, Matt. It's called Section 179, and what that is, what they're talking about on those videos is that equipment purchases, which for us, that's pretty much a full-size truck or larger. There are some other nuances in there, but so long as you have a pickup truck with a 6-foot bed, over 6,000 GVWR, I don't know how you could ever get a truck without that. And there are a couple other things on that hit list, but basically any truck that you would consider appropriate for junk removal is going to qualify. So what you're able to do is purchase that vehicle, and so long as you put it in service by the December 31st for 1 mile, it just has to be in service for this year, you can depreciate the total purchase price of that vehicle down to zero. So if you bought a $30,000 used dump truck or a box truck, something of that nature, then you're able to reduce your tax burden significantly by that total purchase price. That also applies to if you finance it. You don't have to pay cash. You can actually finance one of those vehicles pick it up the last week of December, finance it, and so long as you put it in service, you're able to depreciate the total purchase price, even though you're making payments on the financing. And what that ends up doing is essentially lowering the price on that vehicle by 20 to 30% because of the savings you get to realize on your tax burden. So yeah, that vehicle may have cost $30,000, but you save $10,000 on your taxes, which effectively reduces that purchase price down to $20,000. Now, if you go and get a brand new junk removal truck, dump truck, they're going to run you somewhere between $60,000 to $70,000. Same thing applies. You spend $60,000 on a truck, even if you finance it and put no money down, you're actually getting that truck for about $40,000 because you're going to realize about $20,000 in tax savings. It's huge huge benefit for equipment, for business owners. You just have to be careful that you're doing it right. You're getting a vehicle that qualifies for the Section 179 deduction. And even if you get a vehicle that does not, there's other forms of bonus depreciation that will still be beneficial. You just may not necessarily be able to get that 100% deduction in year one. You may have to spread it out over several years. The other thing too is you don't have to use it all in 1 year. I personally, JUNK180 personally purchased two vehicles, two Isuzu NRRs in 2020, and I won't necessarily depreciate both of them down to zero. I will depreciate the value needed to reduce the tax burden to a point where it makes sense. My goal would be to have a zero tax burden come tax day, so I may, combined, I think it was like $80 or $90,000 I put out for those trucks, but I may only need to deduct $40,000 or $50,000 to ensure my tax burden is zero, so I don't have to write a check come tax time. Definitely talk to your CPA or tax advisor about specifics. It's going to be different for every business. I'm just trying to give you an idea of something you need to look at. I'm not trying to give tax advice here. I'm just trying to let you know that there is some options and you need to explore those options as a business owner. The benefits are huge. Look into it. It's very important. Section 179. Talk to your tax guy or tax gal. And that's it. This is James Swank with JUNK180, 707-536-0740. Check us out online, new and improved website, junk180.com. Thanks again, Junk Removal Authority. They hooked me up with that website. They're currently working on my SEO. Until next time, we'll see you.